Welcome to the official podcast of Vienna Shadows, a secret society uncovering Vienna's hidden mysteries. Lean back and enjoy the show.
You know, usually when we look back at the collapse of historical empires, we tend to think about it like architecture. Like a foundation cracks under the weight of shifting economics, treaties fail, and eventually the whole structure just caves in.
Right. It feels clean in a way. You can trace the lines of cause and effect right there on a timeline.
Yeah, exactly. But then you open up the world of the Vienna Shadows tabletop RPG, and suddenly that historical map isn't just dissolving. It is literally bleeding. The collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire isn't just political, it's cosmic.
It really is. I mean, it is the absolute definition of an occult catastrophe hiding in plain sight.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today's mission is entirely for you. We are building your ultimate Game Master's audio guide for running a campaign in Vienna Shadows.
Yeah, and we're pulling directly from the source manual's incredibly dark section on World War I and the fall of the Habsburgs.
The goal today is to arm you with absolutely everything you need to run a terrifying, lore-rich campaign. A setting where the past doesn't just inform the present, it actively hunts it.
And to set the stage for your game, the core premise here is just breathtakingly grim. The Austro-Hungarian Empire didn't just collapse politically during the Great War between 1914 and 1918.
Wait, it wasn't just a normal war.
No, not at all. The mass death wasn't a tragic byproduct, it was engineered. The entire war was a continent-spanning occult event, orchestrated by hidden factions for a really specific, horrifying purpose.
Okay, let's unpack this, because jumping from a tragic historical conflict to an engineered cosmic meat grinder is a massive leap. How exactly does a war of that scale become a ritual?
Well, it all comes down to what the source calls the shadow truth regarding the Eastern Front. Historically, we know those landscapes were carved up by thousands of miles of trenches.
Yeah, of course.
But in Vienna Shadows, those earthworks weren't just for cover. They were designed by high-ranking cultists embedded deep within the Imperial Royal General Staff, the KUK.
Wait, so the military didn't just stumble into occult activity. The horrific density of death was intentionally designed to break the spatial membrane and let the void bleed in. I need to push back on this for a second.
Go for it.
If these cultists were high-ranking generals, why would they intentionally engineer a meat grinder to destroy their own empire? Isn't that totally counterproductive?
You'd think so, but they saw the writing on the wall. The empire was already fracturing under all this nationalism and economic strain, so they decided to use its death rattle as a battery.
Oh, wow. So they knew it was doomed anyway.
Exactly. The frantic digging of the trenches, the artillery barrages, these were kinetic carving tools. The sheer density of sudden, agonizing death applied so much psychic pressure to the earth that it actually broke the spatial membrane.
It's like a massive continent-sized magical scalpel designed to systematically bleed the Earth's ley lines.
That is a perfect way to describe it. They sacrificed their own crumbling nation to cause the void to bleed directly into the material world.
Which brings us to the terrifying result of all that pressure manifesting in the winter of 1918, because a weapon of that scale doesn't just, dissipate.
No, it manifests as the modern Wild Hunt, or Die Wilde Jagd. Traditionally, the myth is a spectral procession of dead hunters in the night sky.
Right, usually hunting animals or travelers.
Yeah, but the Great War warped that ancient folklore into this modern, terrifying form. It's the spectral, shell-shocked lost legions of the KUK army.
And as you prep your games, this is exactly the imagery you want for your players. We aren't talking about mythical huntsmen in medieval cloaks, right?
Not at all. When your players look up into the biting winter winds, the Wiener Nebel, they see a towering, spectral officer on a skeletal Lepizzaner stallion.
So creepy.
Oh, it gets worse. Following him is cavalry with shattered gas masks, infantry with rusted Mannlicher rifles, and mountain troops frozen into these awful ice blue husks.
It totally turns the pomp and circumstance of the old empire into a waking nightmare. But I think the most crucial detail for you as the GM is what these ghosts actually hunt.
Right, they don't hunt physical bodies.
Exactly. They hunt the egos of the living. They want to drag the minds of the citizens into an eternal trench battle in the Dreamlands. It is such a brilliant way to threaten characters with a fate worse than mere physical death.
It really is.
Yeah.
You aren't just rolling a new character. Your old character's mind is trapped in spectral barbed wire forever.
Oh, and a weapon this powerful doesn't go unused. If the Wild Hunt is sweeping Vienna, someone is trying to hold the leash.
Oh, absolutely. The geopolitical collapse reshaped the secret war between three major cult factions. The source calls this the War of the Robes.
Let's get into the factions.
So first you have the Black Robes. During the war, they were the accelerators who dragged it out. Now in the 1920s, they are the unleashers.
Meaning what, exactly?
Meaning they use unnatural blizzards to guide the hunt into the city center to completely destroy the new republic. They just want anarchy.
Wow, okay. And the Golden Robes?
They are the opposite. They were imperial bureaucrats who tried to channel the war's energy to make the emperor immortal. That failed, obviously.
Obviously.
So now, they are revanchists operating out of secret officer clubs. They're trying to capture these spectral officers to build an undead army for martial rule.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because you have the anarchists and the imperialists, but then there's an ideological civil war within the third faction.
Yes, the Crimson Schism. The main Crimson Robes were chroniclers who recorded the precise moment minds cracked under artillery fire.
Just clinical observation of human suffering. So morbid.
Very. And today, they are necroarchivists harvesting memories. But out of their ranks came the Crimson Cracked branch.
The mutineers, right?
Exactly. Mutineers, anti-war scholars, people who realized the war was an occult slaughterhouse and refused to participate. Now they're guardians of the rest, running veteran mutual aid societies.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the contrast in their methods is where the game world feels so tactile. I mean, the main Crimson Robes use these massive phonographs to capture phantom battle cries, right?
Yeah, they use the acoustic frequencies of a shattering human mind to decipher star maps to the outer voids.
That is wild. And directly opposing them, the Cracked Branch uses Hallstatt salt and iron nails and secret funeral rites to stop spirits from joining the hunt.
Right, the Hallstatt salt grounds the magic to the ancient Iron Age roots of the Alps. It's such a great detail.
Totally grounds it. But let's pivot to the practical side for you as the GM. Lore is great, but how do we actually make the players roll the dice for their lives?
Well, the core system is a really simple D6 roll-under system. You use base 3 attributes.
It's strength, intellect, charisma, and perception, right?
Yep, and it's so fast-paced, which is perfect for survival horror, especially when you introduce the sanity threat mechanic, the horn of the hunt.
Oh man, this is brutal.
It is. When the unnatural fog rolls off the Danube, characters outdoors must roll under their intellect.
I look at this mechanic like an occult air raid siren. It's a great tool for GMs to instantly change the tone and force players indoors. What happens if they fail?
If they fail, they hear ghostly bugles and charging hooves in their mind. They take a point of sanity damage, and they suffer the shell-shock flashback condition.
So they literally see the modern streets of Vienna turn into mud-filled trenches.
Exactly. Their perception of reality just breaks. But there is a survival mechanic to counterbalance it called Imperial Iron.
Right, the relic defense.
Yeah.
Wow.
If a character carries an authentic WWI iron metal, like the Karl Truppenkreuz or even frontline shrapnel, they can make a charisma check.
So what does this all mean for the players?
It means inventory and historical props give them a literal lifeline. If they pass, the spectral soldiers recognize them as brothers in arms.
And it actually pacifies the ghosts, right?
Yep, for 1d6 divided by 2 rounds, they just refuse to attack that specific character.
That is cinematic gold. So let's take all of this lore and mechanics and put it into a blender. The source has a sample adventure arc called The Last Review of the Lost Regiment.
It's a fantastic scenario.
Yeah.
So Act 1, The Hook. The players are hired by a disabled Veterans Fund administrator. A night watchman at the Zentralfriedhof Cemetery in Simmering is found dead.
But not just dead, he's frozen solid by the 1918 mass graves, right?
Exactly, and he's clutching a rusted KUK bugle.
Oh.
An intelligence check reveals the bugle is coated in incandescent liquid humming with psychic energy.
Which leads them to Act 2. The trail goes from the cemetery to a Ringstrasse officers club run by the Golden Robes.
Right, the revanchists. And they possess the regimental standard of the lost 4th Imperial Infantry, which was wiped out in 1915.
And they're holding a seance of the Eagle to summon the spectral officer of the Wild Hunt so they can force a march on City Hall. What's great for you as a GM here is the flexibility.
Oh, totally.
Your players can use charisma to schmooze into the high society salon, or they can use strength for a violent breach.
What's fascinating here is how all the factions suddenly collide in absolute chaos in Act 3.
The climax.
Yeah, the Black Robes detonate a void-reacting gas bomb, dissolving the physical walls so the Wild Hunt rides right through the grand ballroom.
Absolute nightmare scenario for the players.
It's pure chaos. Black robes chanting on the roof, main crimson robes frantically recording phantom bugles on a truck outside.
And right in the middle, aided by the cracked branch, your players have to they have to pass a sanity check just to approach the spectral officer through a blizzard of ghostly shrapnel.
And if they make that, they need a strength check to burn the standard with Hallstatt salt.
So let's talk about the epilogue. What are the stakes for success versus failure?
Well, success means the bugles play taps, the souls rest, and the players get a massive boon, the Iron Trippin' Crew's anchor.
Which gives them immunity to gaze and auditory sanity drain once per campaign, right?
Yep, but if they fail, the city gets hit with a 3-day freezing blizzard, phantom gunfire, and citizens wake up with their minds trapped in 1915 trenches.
Oh, and under a new Golden Robe Marshal regime. Just brutal.
Very. It completely changes the campaign world.
It really does. What these sources give you is an incredible toolkit. You are blending historical tragedy with cosmic horror to create a setting where the past literally haunts the present.
It's history weaponized. The mechanics and the lore just work together so well.
They do. Well, before we go, we always like to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over, something that builds on the lore.
Right, and this goes back to the main crimson robes, using those spectral battle cries to decipher star maps to the outer voids.
Because they believe the collective engineered trauma of millions of soldiers inadvertently created a literal map, right?
Yes, but think about that. If human trauma maps the cosmos, what exactly is waiting out there that needs human suffering to be found?
Wow. Might the entire Great War have been orchestrated not just by ambitious human factions, but by something in the void itself communicating through them?
Exactly. It's a terrifying thing to consider for your campaign.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into Vienna Shadows. Good luck running your game, and we will see you next time.
This concludes today's episode. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Until next time, Vienna Shadows, signing off.